calls it a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. This is way back. Walk the walk. Left Taylor.
What's going on, everyone? This is Dodgers Therapy. We're rolling with it. It's presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Scott Geirman, senior staff writer. I'm with my good buddy, managing editor, Dodger Blue, Blake Williams. What's up, boy?
Doing pretty good. Better than the Dodgers are right now. Just got back from some golfing. Had the Rapsodo set up, so I got my swing metrics going, diving into the data a little bit. So ready to be here now and talk about everything falling apart with the Dodgers.
Better day than the old Dodgers had, Blake? Better series?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we see you guys in chat. Everybody, we're here. We've made it. Thanks for hanging out with us. 9 o'clock, late one. You know what we do here. We don't mince words. We're not going to sit here and make excuses. There's a lot of chatter. Are we ready to rumble? Mike, yeah, we're ready to rumble, buddy. It's not good times. There will be no excuses here. It's an odd thing that we're in. We're watching a Dodgers club. By all accounts, they got absolutely manhandled today. The last 3 days, they looked overmatched. It felt like the big hit was never going to come. You had the only two guys hit homers, I believe, are Cavan Biggio and Gavin Lux. If I look outside my window right now and see a nuclear cloud, I will not be disappointed. It's stuff that we all knew that the Philadelphia Phillies were a talented team. We all knew the Dodgers are dealing with a lot of injuries. But it just looking top to bottom, that they're just the better team. They are healthier. They are better equipped for certain scenarios. They have better role players that actually have defined roles. Blake, are we seeing the same thing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think part of the main thing here is the Phillies before the series, they just got Kyle Schwarber back. They got Bryce Harper back. And for the Dodgers, you're missing Tyler Glass now. You're missing Mookie Betts. You're missing Max Muncy. You're missing Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Like, those are four key guys that they're missing. So I think we have to kind of take it with a grain of salt if we're going to take a step back here and be rational about this. But at the same time, that's not like my biggest concern. It's the bottom of the lineup is terrible. Their bench is terrible. Their current rotation is terrible. And I do think that's someone like the injuries coming into play there. And I do think they'll be better going forward. But if you don't get those guys back, then you have to hit the panic button and go make a trade or two to get two starting pitchers, possibly, plus bench bats and other hitters to address those needs in your lineup. So it's easy to say, like, yeah, they're terrible right now. I think Vasse pointed out that they're 22-22 in their last 44 games. Not great, not good at all for this team.
20, I believe.
Okay, somewhere around there. Not playing well, regardless of what it is. And, like, I think we have to take it with a grain of salt still because they have so many injuries and key guys out, and they're going to be better and improve when those guys come back. But there's still a lot of holes on this roster that they need to actually fill and address and figure out how to move forward.
Yeah, I know we see it, everybody. 5 runs in 3 games, or that's not what it was. Is that what it was? 5 runs in 3 games. Yep, 5 runs in 3 games. An absolute abysmal performance. Stuff that you just cannot see. In the 10-1 loss with Bobby Miller starting, Dodgers went 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. They just don't seem equipped. It's a different year. I've had these conversations for a couple weeks now. They've been better against lefties, but against right-handed pitching, they just lack any depth, any role players outside, of their top guys that have impact. I don't just say this is the worst. I didn't say it was the worst bench and role-playing group I've seen in 10 years just to do it. It's just they have nobody. You have Brandon Marsh with the Phillies, who's well above league average against right-handed pitching. They just have guys. They have players with defined roles. Stott is a very talented player. They just have these role-playing guys. Gavin Lux prays to be that type of guy. James Outman just has, every at-bat in this series, he struck out. I don't know what people thought James Outman was going to do when he came back. He didn't show much in AAA. He hasn't been playing well. He hadn't been playing well. And they called him up because they just needed it. Because Andy Pa is showing extreme splits, and he's a guy that, by all accounts, you need to just play versus left-handed pitching. He's going to have upside, but his defense is a problem. James Outman, he's not showing anything and not separating himself. So there's a definite problem with depth. This isn't the same old show we're doing all the time complaining about it. It's that we got to play in a series that I've been hoping the Dodgers play, because the only thing we can do is match this team for me. I'll say it again, is against these caliber of teams. So you know what the Dodgers really have to work with, how they're going to do it, and what they have to address. And you got to face a big three of Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, and Christopher Sanchez, who's terrific, a terrific unheard lefty that everybody should take note of. So the Dodgers got put straight up against the wall and absolutely beat down 3 straight games because the big hit felt like it was never going to come, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got to take into account that the Dodgers were facing 3 aces essentially, and the Phillies were not facing that. The Phillies are healthy. Like, we do have to note that the Dodgers are not, but the Dodgers were not playing well at all. Like, it wasn't even that they just weren't hitting, because the second game they hit like 364 with runners in scoring position, and they still lost. They scored, 3 runs that game or something off the top of my head. But They were playing sloppy baseball. Their defense was atrocious. They didn't help out Gavin Stone at all that game. And then today, the defense didn't help out anyone either. So, like, you can get over guys not hitting. That's going to happen throughout a baseball season. But they came out and they just looked sloppy and kind of like over being there in a sense. Like, Gavin Lux has been there for his defense all year. He's not hitting at all. And he was out there and he made an error, led to a run scoring, I'm pretty sure. So it's just like, you can't be doing that. James Outman had a misplay. When you're not hitting at all, you can't be doing that, especially when you're there for the defense also. Eddie Pajes had the error. That wasn't an error, but we all know it was an error. Like, it's just floppy all around, and that's unacceptable. Like, that's why Dave Roberts came out and said he was embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like, it's reasonable there. Like, Dave isn't really going to go out and call out players for slumps or anything, but when you look unprepared, like, that's a problem.
Yeah. And guys, they're not firing Dave Roberts because of this. He's working with what he has. If we're frustrated about it, you better believe that Dave Roberts is frustrated with the performance these guys are putting up. If you're going to complain about any of the rotation players at the bottom of the order, he's working with what he has there. You think there's nobody there. He can't say I'm screaming for Lipsius to come up. He's not going to ask for Cody Hosey to get brought up. It's just, that's not what they're doing. And you guys can call it out in chat. It just looks ridiculous. He's working with what he has there. It's not his fault. He's not going up there taking at bats. But since June 1st, Dodgers are 19-16. They have had the largest lead in the National League West, got up to 9 games from the 18th to the 20th. After June 1st, it never dropped below 6.5 games. And right now, I think it's at a comfy, I'm going to say it's at 7.5 games right now. It might be at 6.5. Hold on, let me check. But we're talking about a spot where they're going to operate with the luxury of time. They're going to operate with that. But seeing it's at 7 games. But seeing a performance like this, my only point with it, we know they've been playing bad. And we know they're injured. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that they're injured. They all know it, because if it goes toe-to-toe, just like Mookie said, teams are going to play up to it, play it's like at their World Series, regardless of who's in the game. Dodgers have to find a way to manufacture runs. They have to find a way to do it. You play a team like the Brewers who can pitch. They found a way to do it then. Slumps have been happening. Guys like Freddie Freeman, they just haven't been playing well the last week, whatever. But this is a Phillies team that punishes mistakes. They've manufactured stuff out of nothing. And it was some stunning blows. It felt like they were overmatched. And that's just my biggest point with it. It's that they've got definite work to do. And seeing online, we've seen, Chad, like a ton of Chad Moriyama, a lot of people who haven't been talking about, is there ever a time for the Dodgers to make moves? And it doesn't sound irrational. Like, this is a spot where absolutely the depth on the team is not acceptable for a Dodgers team that went crazy this offseason. The lead in the division doesn't feel like a big lead in the division because they're playing so well. And the standings are backing that up. They're stumbling their way through it. And now the pitching's getting so strained, we're wondering which AAA call-up is going to come up just to give us innings. So it's hard to put a lot of that on, it's hard to put a lot of that on Robleski. It's hard to put that on Landon Knack. Bobby Miller had to get sent down. And Gavin Stone, for all that he's done, did his best to keep the team in the ball game, and the offense wasn't hitting. So I just think there's a lot of things that you're asking the team to do, a lot of things when they're just not equipped to win these games, when their role players aren't playing, they're not playing well, their rotational pieces are not playing well at all, and they've had some spots where it feels like they're just completely giving away roster spots right now without seeing if there's anybody else in the organization that has a little bit of juice.
Yeah, I mean, right now when we're looking at the team, like they have your number 10 or 11 starter in the 2 spot. They've got the 12th or 13th guy in the 3 spot. Like James Paxton is your number 2 starter essentially right now. Also, like it's just they signed him to be their 5th or 6th guy, so they have guys out of
what did I
roles
say?
right now.
What did I say? What did we say to each other, guys? We were like, Blake and I were saying, damn, a lot of teams would kill for a James Paxton, and right now Andrew Freeman would probably kill to have a James Paxton just for availability. Go on.
Yeah, and then like Kike Hernandez, who should probably be DFA'd, is essentially their starting like first guy off the bench. Chris Taylor, who's been struggling all year, and to his credit, he has looked a lot better recently, and he's probably been the only somewhat competent bench bat recently, which says a lot about the state of their team. He's your starting third baseman, and that's not a role he should be in. You have Gavin Lux, who should be in AAA. He's your everyday second baseman. Like, I know Jason Hayward's hurt, but he's been their starting right fielder all year, and he's better as a fourth outfielder backup type, but he's getting everyday at bats. Like Andy Pajas, probably a platoon guy who he's still coming back from his shoulder injury, and he doesn't have the same power that he's known for. And I think that's kind of affected his actual play and talent level. You have him out there on an everyday basis in center field when the defense is maybe average at best, probably a little below league average. Like, you just have so many guys out of roles that they should be in right now that it's going to be pretty much impossible to beat World Series contending playoff teams, at least consistently, when you don't have guys in the right positions. Like, they need to make a lot of changes to this roster to actually get guys in the positions they should be in. They need guys to get healthy, which I know we have to keep like crediting that part of it, because if Mookie Betts was here, if Max Muncy was here, if Glasnow, Yamamoto, Kershaw, Bueller, potentially even Dustin May, maybe, like they have a lot of guys just out on the IL, and it's tough to win and be competitive. But I think it also goes back to the offseason. Like, a lot of us question Kike's signing because he hasn't shown much in 3 years now. There was questions about re-signing Jason Hayward to play an everyday role. It's just been like a lot of head-scratching moves that have led to this point also. So we can say, like, yes, they have to get healthy. They have to figure that side of it out. But there's a bigger concern there, too, with the bench guys and the lack of quality options that they've put in their organization.
Yeah, and to your thing, pitchers break. And that's what, every time you say that, it sticks in the mind. And when we feel like that you're at a spot where, you know, maybe depth, they just have a little bit they have enough depth where the guys coming off IL, they're going to be able to supplement when need be. And now we're getting in a point where people are asking me if Clayton Kershaw, if that's going to be a guy that you're going to root to excellence. And it's somebody who we're still not fully confident in. Bobby Miller, same type of thing. He has to go find himself. Hopefully Rob Hill can get him right. Big task there. Walker Buehler, same thing. Yamamoto, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, not a lot has come out. There's a lot of doubt in myself. Matt Moreno, same thing. Blake, I think you agree. It's a long-term commitment with him. He's got all the potential in the world. He can be a front-end guy. He is a front-end guy. But his availability looking down the stretch here in 2024 is something I don't think the Dodgers will meddle with at all. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough to project injuries, and they're not going to risk his health this year, especially they signed him to a 12-year contract. Like, they're not going to push him to get him back for the first year of it, which is disappointing because they are in a win now scenario here. Like, Freddie Freeman's, we were questioning if he was going to be like able to break out of his slump early in the year because Father Time's undefeated. Like, Mookie's not going to be in his prime forever. It's just, they have a very old roster from their starters, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they are the oldest club average age in baseball from their starting 9 when they're healthy. So, like, you do have to consider those prime years, and you don't want to push Yamamoto to like come back and risk his injury further down the line, but also you can't like totally just punt on that. So it's going to be a tough decision. I think they might be a little more aggressive at the trade deadline than we've seen the past 2 years. Like, I know we complain about last year's trade deadline a lot, but I get it. I said it all year last year. I didn't think that team was built to win World Series. We had a lot of debates about that, but I think at the end of the day, they maybe agreed with it a little too. They were kind of punting for this year. But now this is the year you went all in. You went out and spent $1.2 billion in the offseason, and you left a lot of holes on this team. And now you have to go fix those because you don't want that investment to just go down the drain and kind of flush away some of those prime years of guys, because they're just going to keep losing years of those prime years every single time they don't like go and make decisions.
It's this championship window. It's this championship window. And we've been saying it for years. We've seen it since Andrew Friedman took over, since Dave Roberts took over, 2016, all the way straight through. But this is the window where you have Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman's getting older. He'll be 35 years old here pretty soon. Mookie Betts, age 31. Ohtani's 30 years old, just turned 30. So, Will Smith, 29, big contract. He's going to play at a high level. But it's these superstar players where you just have to maximize now. And it's unfortunate, and it's been a conversation with you and I for a bit, and it's begun to spark up. It's that drafting and developing has kind of slowed them from being able to supplement the big league roster with productive young players. It's hard to predict that and all of their success, but it's easy when it's one or two slots that you can just slide maybe one guy in, maybe two, and then be able to absorb it. But you're dealing with a roster right now that you're having to play Miguel Rojas, Andy Pages, who is a fast riser, and they're just letting him out there because they have to. James Outman, who's an older prospect, who defense guy, offense went up, fell off a cliff, and we know who he is. Chris Taylor's having the worst year of his Dodgers career, and Gavin Lux, who's been a nobody since he's put on a Dodgers uniform. It's been embarrassing what Gavin Lux has done with the Dodgers this year. You brought it up to me, that window, that 150 at bat analysis period from Dave Roberts in the front office, that's been extended far past, and we'll see if they act on that at the deadline. But this is a championship window that if they don't do this now, what's it going to tell the fans about what they've done this past year and a half? Not doing anything at the deadline, not trading away. We've seen that prospect pool get older now. They did make moves, maybe because they weren't there, didn't line them up, or they were looking towards the offseason. For Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto rebooted there. But now if you don't do it, when the league is so mid, Dodgers are playing an incredibly mid brand of baseball the last month and change, and they'd lost no ground, essentially, in the National League West. So if there was ever a time to do it for me, it's something that you have to do now, and I think everybody in chat will agree. If you agree with that this is the time, if there was ever a trade deadline to go in, then you have to do it now. You can always put yes, no, if you think so, I want to see. Because I've been on that for a bit. This has to be the year. It's unacceptable if they don't, but we've got to get to a couple super chats here. 300, I'll be honest. I'm not certain what trades will be there with so many teams still in it. Dodgers putting a lot of faith in guys getting healthy. Blake, what do you think on that?
I agree with that to a sense. I mean, I think since MLB added the extra playoff teams, it's been a challenge to find teams that are willing to trade, and it's really created a seller's market. I think that's kind of part of the reason why the Dodgers have been so hesitant to go out and make huge trades as of recently, because you can't go and trade 3 top prospects for an average starting pitcher who might help them out a little. I think we should give them some credit last year for trying to get Eduardo Rodriguez, which didn't work out because he declined his no trade value or no trade clause. But at the same time, that was a little mess. They should have been a little more prepared for that situation coming up and everything. It's just a very strange situation there. So I know we point to last year's trade deadline a lot. I do think it's fair to say they were a little more aggressive than we actually saw what they ended up with. So I do think there is reason to believe they're going to be aggressive this year as well. I mean, I've talked about it a lot. I don't think there's any untouchable prospects in this organization really at this moment. Jose DePaula might be the closest for me, but we also talk a lot about how the Dodgers haven't developed any prospects or anyone recently. So that just makes it a little easier for me to say yeah, sure, go trade DePaula. He might become a star somewhere else, but the Dodgers aren't showing that they're going to develop him. So, I mean, I think they have the prospects to get stuff done. I think they're going to be aggressive. It's just depending on who's actually available and what teams are willing to sell. And that might come down to 5 teams, 6 teams or something. And then you're kind of in a tough spot because every contender is going to be bidding and trying to make something happen. But yeah, I mean, that's part of just how MLB is now. Thanks to the expanded playoffs, we have to deal with that. It's taken away a lot of fun from the trade deadline. And that's where we're at. So You just have to kind of hope a lot of guys get healthy and they can add one or two pieces that help them out. But if they do go out and make some bigger trades, a few of them, like, I'd be very happy with that. And you just have to have stuff that lines up.
Shout out to the over 700 in here right now, 9:00 on a Thursday. We appreciate you. Blake and I always do. It's why we're here. It's, I told him before the season, his two buddies just getting on here to talk ball. And that's all I wanted to do, carve out a little spot with people that we can get in and, chat about it a bunch. We appreciate all of you guys really, grabbing onto us and letting us do that, giving the opportunity for it. Appreciate Matt letting us do this here. But to piggyback on that super chat, I think we're overestimating how many teams will. I know the Rays do this a bunch. They do this year after year. They're able to buy and they're able to sell. There's pieces on their roster that are expendable. They can get rid of and that they can still remain competitive. So I think that's something people are kind of losing sight of, especially right now with the league as, we'll just call it with the league as average as it is and where it's so wide open that teams will feel there's some pieces that are on expiring contracts or they have somebody waiting in the wings that they can trade, get rid of and still maintain a solid level of production while resetting the clock on a prospect or another big leaguer. And I think that will be the route of more teams than we're actually thinking. So I think we all need to be mindful of that and keep an eye out for it. And it's the Rays that I'm really looking at the most because I've just been so pinpointed on Randy Arozarena and what he brings. And you smile, but it's somebody that it could be done. We know how the Rays are. Randy's a Scott Boras guy. He's got a couple years left. He brings a lot of what the Dodgers need, a few years of outfield control, somebody that can slot in a corner spot, provide them with postseason presence, give them someone who's a veteran bat you don't really have to worry about. What he's done, the back of the baseball card. I've been all about it. But they have relievers. You have Fairbanks. You have a couple starters that, I don't necessarily think the Dodgers would go there, but you can get some guys. If you wanted to get a bullpen guy, you can go that route. You can go, Mike, he's been better, man. Take a look. You can look at his, don't pull season stats on me right now. Don't full thing. Look what he's done the last 30 days. He's been terrific. But there's a lot of other teams that are going to go with that. And I think that there's, maybe the Cardinals even do it, an outfielder, Dylan Carlson. They may deal some of these guys that they feel are expendable. Is that something that you might look out for now that we bring it up? Just teams being able to shed maybe one or two guys while still staying in it with how right on the cusp they could be.
I think that's always a possibility. And especially with the Rays, we saw in the offseason, they traded Glasnow for Pepio with that kind of mindset, add a major league piece to fill our rotation that we like, but we're going to give up another quality piece there. So that's a very Rays mentality. And I do think other teams have kind of followed it. Mm-hmm. I just think it's kind of a tougher situation for some teams to do that. It's hard to say. I feel like the Angels could benefit from doing that kind of thing. I know they're not competitive or anything, but they're the perfect organization to let Gavin Lux go and just kind of let him roam free over there at second base. And he's going to have no expectations. No one's going to care if he's hitting 200 for the rest of the year. It just seems like something that would make sense for them. I feel like Lux is that kind of player. You have to go trade him somewhere where he's not going to have high expectations, and the other team could use that kind of second baseman to replace. I mean, I think Luis Rengifo is the perfect fit for the Dodgers. I've been saying that, and I don't think the Angels are actually going to trade with the Dodgers. So
I don't think so either. I think a lot of people agree.
I'll throw out my hope, but James Outman, Gavin Lux, send him to Anaheim with some other prospects. It seems like something the Angels would like. They like those washed players, I guess. But I mean, it's just those deals are a little tougher to come by sometimes because you kind of have to find a team in the middle there that's willing to do that. A seller's not going to, or a team in the playoff hunt that's legit up there isn't going to go kind of make those kind of deals. And then it doesn't really make sense for sellers to make those kind of deals. So it's tough.
Yeah, no. And I think that more than ever, we spoke about it earlier, more than ever, it's some time that they have to do it. I had the prospect list pulled up, and it's unfortunate because Kyle Hurt, I wanted him to be so much, but you see a whole lot of 2024 in their top 15 projected. But it's a lot of these guys where they could lose this. You saw them reset the clock with Michael Busch and get Jackson Ferris in, and he's just been terrific. By all accounts, he's going to be the next big thing. And he's had the stuff to back it up. get him in here. And we hope it's not fool's gold. And by all accounts, it's not. That's why same thing. Justin Robleski went out there. I said he had moxie, goes out there and he's able to face the lineup and actually do some things. So, Dalton Rushing, Jose DePaula, Nick Frasso, River Ryan, Kyle Hurt, Ferris, Diego, who's had an uptick lately, Lorenzo. And then I feel they can lose some of this. I feel like they just have to. We've talked about it on this enough that it's enough is enough with allowing these prospects to age out to the point where they're not going to be anything anymore. Their development period isn't over, but it's past where it ultimately could be. For some odd reason, the Dodgers just love to bring guys up outside of, Andy Pages. We're going to platoon you right away. They just do that with almost everybody. And it's unfortunate they don't have a young guy that can come up and kind of plant his feet in Major League Baseball. And that's kind of caused a logjam where they're having to lean on these legacy players, these veteran players, Chris Taylor, Kike Hernandez, and they're kind of stuck because of Major League contracts. But to Gavin Lux, and it's a theme, but to Gavin Lux, I think that with Mookie going down, it's just created, everybody wants him gone. That 150 at-bat period is something that they've probably looked at a bunch. But the trade deadline is more of, if what I'm thinking is going to be correct, or the most likely thing, Matt Moreno feels the same way, is that the deadline, he might not make it past with the Dodgers, that he will be elsewhere. And that's not something just for the, for the laughs or for how bad he's been, we're going to point it as that. It's that it's created a need for him on the roster just to play a position. And it's also given him an extra runway, and he has not made the most of it at all. He's done nothing to it. He was like 0 for his last 18 prior to, I think the Sunday game this past Sunday. So it's getting to a point where you're going to find some players who had big question marks. You're going to, saying peace, saying bye. Anybody else, Blake?
I mean, no, we can keep harping on these guys all the time, and I think we kind of got that point across. So we do have some other questions to get to here.
Yeah, we got one super chat. I want to get Rod
real quick though, because it was related just to what we were talking about. We want Crochet and Screwball, but want to trade Lux and Outman. No, those are going to be separate deals. Just to clarify, like maybe the White Sox would want Lux back as like a throw-in piece, but no, you're going to be talking River Ryan, Dalton Rushing, and Jose DePaula, etc. Like, so
Screwball's not going anywhere. I don't think Screwball's going anywhere. You think so?
No.
Rod, thanks, buddy. Appreciate the super chat, man. Appreciate the super chats. Toss those in there. Make us stop our show. Get us to stop rambling for a bit. Get us talking on some other stream, because all we see online, all we see on Twitter is how bad the role players have been in Doomsday. Yes, it is a time to question the roster. Nobody at me and tell me that we're not going to talk about how bad they've been and how mid they are and how bad the bottom of the lineup is and how bad their bench is. We know we're here to chat about it. So toss some super chats, give us another stream. And if you want us to talk about it, I'm all in. You know me. But top 3 are 0 for 11. But you're playing with not a lot of juice. You've got no juice. You're going against Aaron Nola. The strike zone was huge today. It's just a really difficult matchup. Ohtani got fooled a couple times. Will Smith, 3-punch. It's just a tough game for him. Tough matchup, big strike zone, nothing at the bottom to turn it over. Not a lot of confidence there, just going straight at you. You're immediately down in the game after the bottom of the first. So it's a tough place to be. Bottom 2, down 2-0. Here we go again. Let's just get out, wheels out of Philly, and call it a day. I'm not going to make an excuse for it, but you got to think there's some pressure on them. They feel it too. It's a getaway day. Just you see the writing on the wall. Let's not act like Major League Baseball players, especially superstars, know when they're in a hole, they can see it and they can feel it. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, the top of your lineup is going to have off days sometimes. It's going to happen. It's baseball. I'm not too worried about any of those guys up there. Like Shohei is going to be fine. Will Smith is going to be fine. Teoscar is going to be fine. Whatever group of top 3 they run out there, Freddie Freeman's going to be fine. Like, it happens. It's baseball. Not too worried about that. Like, you just kind of got to turn the page and move on, because they're going to come through more often than not. It's the bottom of the lineup that I have the major concerns about and don't trust. And funny enough, we're talking about this, and they they were the ones who kind of somewhat carried today, like gave the team opportunities to come through. But
Yeah.
Baseball's a funny game.
Yeah. And Mike, I see you in the chat. Freddie disappointed. He's had a tough stretch the last 7 days. I pulled it up. He's had a 560 OPS in his last 6 games.
Yeah. Do we have a series with the Mets coming up anytime soon? Because that always
wake him up.
Wakes Freddie
No.
up.
Dodgers go against Scooball tomorrow.
Yeah. That's not going to be fun.
At least it's a plus for them. At least you're going to see big Kike Hernandez, big Chris Taylor, big Andy Pajes. I mean, at least their strength is against lefties, but it's unfortunate that they're going against the number 1 strikeout leader in Major League Baseball. He's been insane. 132 strikeouts, clearing the next guy in Flaherty by 13 strikeouts. So he's just been – you're looking at the leading candidate for the American League Cy Young. So as if they already didn't have 3 straight tough, yeah, Kenny, another L. I mean, if you want to make other plans, I don't blame you. Nice Friday night. Find something else to do.
Just join for our live show later, and
yes,
we'll give you the recap on the no-hitter and the 3 errors.
Casey, shout out to you. Appreciate you always being in here. Thanks for being active on Twitter. Absolutely. I'll take Flaherty too. By all accounts, those injections aren't a big deal. Ken Rosenthal spoke about it on Foul Territory the other day, that he didn't think those injections were going to have any lasting effects. And if he's healthy, he'll be a highly sought after name. And I'm still all about it. Big time. He's found a rhythm. He's found kind of a second wind to his career on an expiring contract. So it's someone I really do hope the Dodgers explore if they're not in the Crochet market. And to some extent, if they go after Flaherty 1A, then I'm good with that. It's a right-hander. He's had big strikeout stuff this year, pitching with confidence. I think he's only had 1 blow-up start. So I'm Blake. You wanted Flaherty with the Dodgers a few years ago.
Yeah, I've been a fan of him for a while. I know he kind of had those. I think it was a few down years there, but seems like he's got him back on track. He's a good pitcher. I mean, I don't think he's going to lead the team like the ace of the team or anything, but slot him into that 2 or 3 spot. I think you're going to be very happy with him there. And he's a local guy. So I always like hearing about those stories of the guys coming back and playing for the teams they grew up watching and all that. They're always fun. So, I mean, I think Flaherty would be fun. And there you go, Scott. We got a comment about Kikuchi. You were talking about him earlier today.
Yeah, Jason, great question. I texted Blake about it. I asked a couple friends. He had a crazy game. I think it was 13 strikeouts against the Giants, I think. Something like that, 12 or 13. Somebody in chat. I know Michael probably hit it real quick. But Kikuchi, interesting arm. He's pitched way better than his ERA suggests. His FIP is like 1.5 lower than his ERA. So he's somebody from the left side has had really bad luck. We're talking about a tough Jays defense and somebody that we're talking. We've seen it a bunch. I wish somebody could real fast. If somebody can type it up, tell me what the Dodgers need. They need 2 pitchers. You need 2 bench bats or 2 bats, and somebody's going to say reliever, and then that's just going crazy. But I'm going to just hinge on if you need 2 pitchers, you need a 1A and a 1B. All right. If 1B is Kikuchi, then I'm great with it. I love what he brings. Yeah, absolutely. GI, he's definitely worth a look. If you go Flaherty and Kikuchi, then I'm all in. That's a great deadline from the pitching front. Eric Fetty, Mike, that same type of thing. There's a couple options out there. I know it's not big name heavy, but it's certainly a lot of interest. There's a lot of interesting arms here. And what Blake always likes to text me and piss me off is he goes, it's intriguing. It's a lot of intrigue. Scott, you intrigued? Yeah, I'm intrigued. There's a lot of intriguing arms. Roy.
I think I use interesting.
Interesting. A lot of interesting stuff at the deadline. Everybody just needs to stop looking for the big names. Flaherty isn't going to last? He might. Who knows? It's worth a shot, though.
You can never count on any pitcher to be healthy. You just kind of got to roll the dice and see what happens.
Here we go. Roy. Again, another mainstay, another Thursday night guy who's been on here. We appreciate you big time. $20 super chat. Do you agree the trade deadline will define us? Do you believe in Friedman? I do. Do you, Blake?
Are you reading I do from there, or are you commenting yourself?
I'm commenting with him with a little flex. He knows.
Okay, so you're going to give us your answer after. Just making sure here. Yes. I feel like I got to think about this one for a minute. I want to believe You know, the meme with the aliens in the back.
Yep.
Like, yeah, that's how I feel about it. That meme is describing
Answer the
me.
first part. Answer the first part then, and then get to the answer that, and then we'll both give that. We'll break it down.
No, not fully. I think if they have a solid trade deadline where you get like not impact guys, but just guys who can contribute, you fix the bench, you move Jason Hayward to the bench, and you get someone like a Mark Canna type player. I've said him a lot just because he seems like the most kind of average quality everyday guy I can think of. Like, doesn't need to be a superstar, just needs to be someone. And then you add an infielder who's kind of in that same sense there. You add a pitcher that's going to fit in the middle of your rotation, and you get Mookie back. You get Muncy back. You get Glasnow back. You get Yamamoto back. Hopefully, I think that's a big toss up there. Kind of see how that coin lands. And I think you're going to be fine if that's what ends up happening. I think that team would be talented enough to win a World Series, especially with how the playoffs go and how random it is. They have the star power. You've addressed the bottom of the lineup, so it's not a black hole there. And you have your ace with Tyler Glasnow. You have a middle of the rotation guy you can count on. I think we all kind of believe in Gavin Stone enough to say like they're going to be fine with him as their number 2 or number 3. You hope Kershaw or Buehler or Yamamoto come back and help fill out the rotation a little more, maybe even Dustin May. And I think that's a quality enough team to win. You don't need to have the best team. You don't need superstars at every position. And you can still win in the playoffs with that. Like we saw the Diamondbacks. They weren't stacked at every single spot, but they still went to the World Series. We see it every single year with teams. So no, I don't think you have to go like get multiple superstars and impact players. I think you just need good players that aren't Gavin Lux, Kike Hernandez, Kevin Biggio type players.
So you agree? It will define them because there's moves that have to be made. Like it has to be done. I think that's the root of it.
I guess, but like if we're talking about defining them, like they need to go do 3 major trades and add an ace, they need a superstar bat type thing. Like I don't think that's fair. I don't think you need to do that, but I think you just need to go get pieces that can contribute just at a major league average level, contribute, and you're going to be fine.
We all agree.
So like, I guess in that sense, it's going to define them, but I don't think that's going to change like how we look at Friedman in the next 5 years or something.
It might to a lot of fans. It might to a lot. There's a lot of angry fans this year about it. Like for where they're at. There's angry fans every year.
If they don't win this year and then they win like 2 or 3 years down the line, like it's not going to change much. So I don't really think you can say it's going to define them or anything. Like Friedman's job is safe.
Too big picture. We're talking about this season. Like multiple trades for impactful pieces, that's a defining spot. Like that is a defining area of your season. We're talking right now, like this is blow up scenario where you feel that it could go south, or people are saying we can see already what they're doing or what they're going to show down the season. Like they see what the product is right now. And if the only thing that's going to kickstart you back in the positive direction is a deadline where you get a couple productive pieces. So I think that is a defining spot for this season in particular. This is a defining spot. Like if you're saying productive players, I think I like Mark Hanna. I think I brought him up like the first show we did. I think the first thing people were talking about was like Mark Hanna. It seems like just a real average guy. Jesse Winker, I know Mike's brought him up quite a few times. They need a left-handed bat who's productive against right-handed pitching. They need role players. You look back at like 2021, they had multiple. Like McKinstry was above league average. He was like 120 WRC plus. Edwin Rios. We're talking guys who they actually had defined roles. The Dodgers have none of that. If you pull up their fan graphs, so mind you, this is like before today's game factors in against right-handed pitching. We're talking about an embarrassment of what they've got here. Like Jason Hayward's barely under league average, 97 WRC plus. This doesn't factor in today, guys. Andy Pages, we're talking 86, 62, 60, 55, 52, 45. And we're talking Gavin Lux gets starts against right-handed pitching. And after today, it's going to hover around like the 64 mark WRC plus against right-handed pitching. So we're talking about replacing that with players who are at least, so I get it. You're saying they just need to be average, and then that will skyrocket them. I think that is a defining spot for this team. because it's about we're seeing the same stuff over and over. So to replace that with even okay players is a huge moment, because then that like more than not, you're going to see somebody on, and then the lineup turns over. You're going to at least get someone who's going to hit for average, get on base, and not be an automatic ground ball to second base. When I pray to God that Gavin Lux is up to plate with a runner on third, 1 out, so we can roll one over to second base and drive in a run. So I think I think I helped you answer your question. It is a defining spot.
If we're talking about this year alone,
Only.
sure, I'll agree with that. Then, yeah, I think you make fair points there. They need to address the bottom of the lineup and their bench. They can't go on with what they're doing now. Like, Gavin Lux should not be on this team. Kike should not be on this team. Jason Hayward should be a fourth outfielder.
Yes.
It's just like Chris Taylor, he's going to be on the roster because of the contract, and you just kind of hope he keeps playing productive. So it's hard to say like DFA him, but Kevin Biggio shouldn't be on the roster. It's just they have too many guys who shouldn't be playing in Major League Baseball right now. And for a team with these expectations, that can't be happening. So, yeah, I guess they need to go find guys who can contribute at the trade deadline. And sure, I think that'll define us to a sense this year. Do I believe Friedman will do it? Yes. I think
from that sense, it changes your answer, doesn't it?
He's not stupid. Like, he knows the problems here. He's going to go try and fix them. Like, the ownership isn't going to let him say, like, punt this year because of all the injuries or anything. They've invested a lot of money into this team. They have a lot riding on this year. So they'll be aggressive enough to at least find some average players. Do I trust him to go get superstar level players or the impact guys that a lot of us want? Maybe kind of 50-50 on that. Some years they've done that and some years they haven't. I think it's all just about matching up with other teams and seeing who's actually available and selling. So coin flip on that one, but I do trust that they'll get at least a few average players at the minimum, and I think we would be happy if they do that.
I think so too. And shout out to the 900, over 900 in here. I think so too. The Gavin Lux window extended because of Mookie Betts and the uncertainty with Miguel Rojas, and then Chris Taylor not playing well, Kike Hernandez, not playing well. So it kind of, all these injuries, Max Muncy being out for that time, kind of started the snowball of poor play. So all those things have to be taken into account when, sure, they could have made these moves, but they understand that maybe the options aren't in the organization. And that's just the way it is, that you're going to be able to play. They could read, they can look at all the data. They can look at the tendencies and how the standings have kind of played out. You don't have to make moves on the immediate because then they'll cost too much and you don't know who's available. But the closer we get towards the deadline, that's when all of these things, you can look back and see why players got more run. Why didn't they call these guys up? Why didn't they get more of an opportunity? And then you can kind of get your answers from there. But I think to what, the question right there, thanks for the super chat. I think Friedman is aware of it. I think he will do it just from the fact that it cannot be worse than it is now if they improve on the group. If they get different guys in here, I think that will drastically improve the production of the offense. And then all those counting stats that people want to toss at me all day can, then I'll acknowledge them. But if you're going to throw at me that they've had a top offense all year, I don't care because I see who they put in there. The Dodgers entered this series with the Phillies, starting 4 players, 4 of the worst 40 hitters in Major League Baseball every other day. 4 of the top 40 worst, according to WRC Plus. Can't do that. You just cannot do that and say it's okay, we've got time. That's it. All right, we got one more super chat. 300.
Related. Perfectly related timing.
Perfectly. Oh, there we go. Perfectly related. This is a good show, man. This is a fun one. You can't just have the bottom 4 hitters hitting below 200 with OPS in the 500s. You can't. But they have to because, roster stuff, 40-man, active roster things, call-ups. There's one reason. But if you're 300, if you're asking from, just a roster standpoint in matching up with a team like the Phillies, no, you can't. You just can't have that because there's black holes in there. You can game plan and then go that route. And you don't have to pitch to guys. You don't have to do anything. Gavin Lux is going to get lucky on a homer that had, I think, under 100 expecting batting average. And then that probably bought him, 5 more starts straight. You just can't have that. And I agree with you. And then your first guy off the bench for Gavin Lux is Kike Hernandez, who has a 551 OPS. It's just it's a rough route. They don't have the same role players. This is a disaster class from Friedman in that sense, but you can't predict that all of those guys are going to have like career worst seasons all at the same time. That's a rough deal. I think Blake, you'll agree on that. Now, Deuce, don't mess on that and say 150 more at bats for Lux.
I mean, I think with the Lux part, like they don't have many other options, and I think if other guys were healthy, if Muncy was healthy, if Mookie was healthy, I don't think we'd see Lux in this role. I think there's a good chance he'd be in AAA right now. It's just these are the options they're stuck with at the moment because of their injuries, and the trade deadline hasn't come up yet. So I think if Lux is still on the roster past the trade deadline or in a key role and not like a bench bat or in AAA or on another team, then we can have real problems and criticize them a lot for that. But right now, this is like, it's Gavin Lux, it's Kike Hernandez, or it's Kevin Biggio starting there. Like, pick who you want and go with it. I think of that group, Lux probably has the most upside. I mean, and that's kind of just what you're hoping for. Like, yeah, I agree. But if you have to pick one of those three, you might as well pick the somewhat possible upside there. Like, he's probably not going to figure it out, but what if he does?
They don't have time. You don't have time. You just don't. He's not showing anything to provide that. Usually you see flashes, and that's why with like guys like Andy Paz, you see flashes. You see him improve. He was getting too deep into counts and getting himself wrapped up in holes. That's, and then you immediately see him coming out here and swinging first pitch, and he's finding some success there, albeit the splits are becoming a little more extreme, but you're seeing improvement there. You're seeing stuff. I'm not seeing this from Gavin Lux. I'm just not seeing that. So we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to get to a segment here. Slump or concern. And the way we're going to base this is we're going to talk about some areas of the roster. We're going to talk about, just a couple guys. Not going to get too far into it, but we're just going to go with, I would say, last 15 days. Guys who have been playing a little bit to the mean. We might get a little 7-day splits. Guys who just haven't been, playing up to where you think. We'll start with Freddie Freeman. We brought it up earlier. We'll just kickstart it there. 560 OPS last 7 days. Just a little slump. Or are you concerned about him? We'll bring up different ways.
It's a slump. I mean, we've seen enough from Freddie that we know he's going to get back on track. He's already done it this year. Like early in the season, Freddie was saying he was like playing terribly and he was in a major slump for himself. And he was hitting like 295 with a 800 OPS. Like, we know Freddie has high expectations for himself, and then he started to figure it out more. He's like the least of my worries on the offensive side right now, so definitely slump.
Okay. My guy, Mickey V, our guy. His last 15 days, his Linsanity run is ultimately on life support a little bit, okay? Is he in a slump, or are you concerned? Is he in a slump? I think so. And that's just me being a homer with Miggy V and knowing that he needs to play. But was it just a complete tough matchup against the Phillies pitching?
I'll say more slump. I mean, I think we've believed for a long time that he has the talent to hit, and he's one of their like best contact pure hitters in the system that they have just overall. So I think he got his starting job at a point where he was facing 3 of MLB's elite pitchers, essentially, and I think we can give him a little break there. Like, out of every like not starter that they have, I think I'm most confident in Vargas kind of figuring it out. So I'll go with slump there too.
Yeah, Andy Paz, I'm a little bit concerned with. I am. As much runway as he's had, I'm a little bit concerned with him. His last week has been really tough to watch. For everything I say about, I would like him to be a little bit more aggressive. He needs to pick and choose his spots with that a little bit better. Dorico, I'm a little bit concerned. It's about the splits thing now. It's about, is he going to be like, is this, Mike, zone awareness, work some counts. Now it just feels like they're attacking him and they know he's been so aggressive lately. I can't wait till, Fangraphs updates overnight so I can pull that up and have it for myself and really see what his swinging for his pitch has been recently. But I'm a little bit concerned about him. I feel like he's getting back to some stuff when he was really at that low peak because he's not working walks. He's just getting so aggressive. It might hurt him a bit. Low on base percentage. 683 OPS his last 15 days. Are you with me on the concern or slump?
I think I'm a little bit of both, but I'm going to lean more slump or concerned. I think it's like 70% concern, 30% slump for me if I have to pick.
Yeah.
I think with Pages, he should still be in the minor leagues, like working things out, trying to get his shoulder strength back. I think part of the problem for him is he doesn't have the power that made him one of the top prospects in their system, and that's due to that shoulder injury. It usually takes 2 or so years for it to come back, and they really had to rush him up because he was hitting well enough, and they needed a player in the outfield to kind of help them out there. So I think right now he's playing well for what they've needed from him, and they've asked for a lot more than they should have expected from him. And to his credit, he's been about a league average hitter. I think that's fine. I think it would be a lot nicer if he was batting 8th or 9th in the lineup instead of 4th or 5th or 6th like he has been hitting. So I think just the situation he's in, there's a lot of pressure on him and expectations that he really shouldn't have at this moment. So I have more concerns about him. He's basically kind of become like a singles hitter without much power. It seems like his only hits have been singles recently. I think he had like 1 double or something recently, but just a lot of singles in there for a guy that we projected to be like Aaron Judge light with power and an average middle kind of batting average with a good amount of strikeouts. And we just haven't seen that player. So it would be best if he could be working on his game in AAA and figuring things out and rebuilding his strength, but they've forced him into a key role, and he's basically like what he is right now. He's probably your 3rd outfielder, maybe even a 4th outfielder that's being pushed into your 2nd best outfielder role. So I'm concerned about it, but that's more of like the situation that he's been put in and not necessarily the player himself.
Can I ask you something about Andy Pages, Blake?
No.
Okay. We'll next segment then, but I'm asking you anyway. Is he someone, if the Dodgers included him in a trade, would you be upset about it because we don't really know who he is yet? Or is that somebody who, could be dangled out there?
Depends on the deal. Like if it was for Luis Rivera or something, I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
It would have to be a pretty big name player, impact guy that you're getting back, because I do think with Pages, like he's been fine this year. And like I said, he doesn't have his shoulder strength yet. And I think when he gets that back, it's really going to help him take off at the major league level. Mm-hmm. So I would be hesitant there. He's shown enough for me as a rookie that he's like worth keeping around. So
is he a center fielder though, Blake?
No.
That's thing. Yeah, I think that's
He's a right fielder. He's a corner outfielder that in a pinch you can put him in center field.
Because he has a cannon. Like he's got a 95th percentile arm. Like it's ugly when he's out there roaming center field. It's a lot of ground to cover. And that's why I was like, okay, Altman's up. Maybe we'll get at least some consistent defensive play, but we haven't gotten that either. He's a corner guy. I had to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the thing. Like they're putting him in a spot he shouldn't be in and asking him to go play well, and it's just not fair to him as a player. So I think he's shown a lot this year, a lot of quality and upside that we can take away from, but he's still he still needs a lot of development at the same time. Like he wasn't expected to be on the roster at this point. So we have to tip our cap to him for what he's done so far, but there are definitely some concerns with his game as well that the Dodgers should be a little worried about, at least for this year.
Mike, don't bring up Brennan Doyle. It's my guy. Terrific ball player. Love him a bunch. Yeah. But the Rockies will never make a deal there. I know he hasn't had a lot, so a lot of people will say, oh, he hasn't had any run. He's been up too quick. But James Outman, concern? Or is it just concern or concern?
I was concerned about him before the season even started. Me and Jeff had the back and forth. I kept saying he's probably a 4th outfielder at best. That's where the scouts have always predicted him to be. There are concerns in his batted ball profile last year and just a lot of his game. Like he's a home run hitter that doesn't have elite home run power, and it just kind of makes him average at best there. And then when you add in the strikeout rate and lack of contact there, like it's just bringing him way down.
Yeah.
So very concerned about Outman. I know he was fine in AAA. He was essentially a platoon player there, but like I said, that's a launching pad out there. You go there and everyone's just raking in AAA because that's what it is in the PCL.
Cody Hosey's going crazy now.
Yeah.
That's somebody that we're going to see fans here pretty soon saying they got to call him up to give him a cup of coffee. But real quick, I want to see, people are talking about why the shade at Andy Paz. We're not giving shade at him. Like, it's about analyzing a player for what he is on the major, like in the major leagues. I'm not dunking on the guy. That's not what it is. It's about he's showing clear platoon splits. He's had a rough go in center field. It's not as smooth as in like a regular center fielder would have. He doesn't look comfortable out there a lot of times. I know Mookie's given him some credit that he's in where he needs to be. But when the plays are alarming, the plays are alarming. His arm is terrific, but he's best suited for a corner spot. That's just to a couple dudes who, didn't play Major League ball, but we can see it. And a lot of people know that he's a corner guy. His power, his raw power is unmatched when he's fully healthy. If he's another year removed from his shoulder surgery, we're going to see a lot of that. His barrel rates are all terrific. They're in great positions, but he's just not a mature hitter at the moment. He's had times when he's dipped that Outman had, and then he's rebounded Pages real quick, and he figured it out. So he's a plus player. I'm still comfortable starting him, but there are areas of concern in his game that, just to what Blake said, if he was in the minor leagues, he can work on these to be a more rounded player. And that's potential to a lot of other teams. That's the only reason that I say, would you include him in a trade if another team wanted him? That's my reason for that. So it's not shaded Andy Paz. We love Andy Paz around here. We're just analyzing his game that he's had, since the start of the season. And that's it. So guys, chill out. We're not dunking on Andy Paz. We like him. We need him out there. So save us from James Outman lefty spots. But we'll move on. Let's see. I don't want to talk about Chris Taylor really, but I will. Are you concerned that his he just has his quality of contact at all? Or are you seeing enough of this little rebound? Because his last 7 days, OPS is over 700. Are you seeing enough of him, or do you just think they're putting him out there just because they have to?
A little of both. I mean, they could put out Biggio or Kike at third, but we've seen they gave Kike the starting job at third base, and he was terrible. And they went out and got Biggio to try and help get a platoon there. Also terrible. Then Chris Taylor started picking it up offensively, and they said, okay, you're going to get the third base job because you're the best of a bad situation, essentially. So I think with Taylor, it's concern, and you're just going to be happy about anything he gives you. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what you expect from him at this point. Like, if he is an 80 weighted runs created plus guy for the rest of the season, I think we would all be happy with that. It would be an upgrade over Biggio and Kike and Outman and other guys. So, I'm fine with that. Is your last guy on the bench who can play any defensive position? That's fine. You don't need anything more than that from that spot. He's just like Pages and some of the other guys. He's put into a position he shouldn't be because of the injuries and the lack of depth on this team. And that's what it is at this point. I'm not expecting much from Chris Taylor, but if he can be fine enough, 20% below league average, we're going to be happy with that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Bullpen. I'm just going to go bullpen all around. Bullpen. It's not a slump or concern. I just want to know bullpen. We'll take the banner down so people don't think that's what it is. What do you thought the bullpen recently, Blake?
I think they're overworked right now. Their starters have gone 4 innings or less in a lot of these games, and then you're relying on the bullpen to go eat 6 innings or whatever a game, 5, 6, 7 innings each time when their starters aren't doing well. Yeah. So I have faith in the bullpen. I mean, relievers are going to be relievers. They're going to mess up and make mistakes some games and blow saves. But overall, they've been one of the better relief groups in baseball. And that might be the only thing I don't think they need to go make a trade for. I'd love if they got Tanner Scott or someone else, but you have a few guys who could potentially be coming back to help them out. And I think if you address the starting rotation and figure out what's going on there, and you get them going 6 innings, 7 innings instead of 3 or 4 innings. I think that's going to take off a lot of work from the bullpen, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah, they've been terrific. The middle game, Gavin Stone game, they came in and took care of business. They went the rest of the game after he came out in the 5th inning. They went on to throw scoreless, rest away, allowed 1 hit. So the bullpen's doing everything they can, even with, just like you said, concern is overuse. I see a lot of people about Ryan Yarbrough. I mean, it's a topic that's been there since last year. Does he have a spot? The only thing is eating innings. He's not coming in big moments. He's a pitching machine. But he serves a purpose. It's a funky arm slot. It's in there to eat innings. And shout out to the 1,000 in here. Appreciate you guys at the hour mark. But I'm with you on the bullpen. It's just they've been a rock solid group. They figured it out again. And it's going to be like that. I don't think they need to make any moves there. If they want to go get just a crapshoot guy, just a fixer-upper, sure, go ahead. But I think the Yohan Ramirez spot is his until he does anything to absolutely blow it. So starting pitchers-wise, it's a concern. We don't even have to talk about it. They're dealing on borrowed time with a lot of them. We're at the point where, Yarbrough, low leverage guy. I think that ahead, we're going to be looking a lot more spots with arms like Landon Knack, Robleski. It's going to get to the point where you might see them use an opener a little bit more. And that might help them out a couple times, get them through the second and third time through the order, and then go from there. What's up, everybody? We said a lot of people just bump in, so we appreciate you guys. You with me on that? Do you like that? Do you like what they've done? Just get, a lefty. I know it didn't work out because he gave up a homer and Anthony Banda, but do you like the fact if they use a little opener to help them through the first spot through the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I think enough teams have shown that can be an effective strategy to help out pitchers. And I know on Twitter, someone was talking to me about how it throws off rhythms and routines for starting pitchers, but I don't really buy into that. Like, they just push their routine back 15 minutes and keep going on with their day. Like, it's not a huge thing. The Dodgers train their starting pitchers to come out of the bullpen, and they train their relievers to be openers in the minor leagues. That's something they do with everyone. You can hear Rob Hill talk about that with the interview Jeff did, for anyone who's interested. But that's kind of the way pitching's trending. Like, I think a lot of teams want guys to be pitchers and not necessarily like a starting pitcher or relief pitcher. They want versatility from their arms. They don't want to lock guys into specific roles. They did it with Pepio last year a few times. They had the opener come in before him, and he proved to be pretty effective. I know we've seen other teams do it, especially the Diamondbacks do it to the Dodgers a lot.
Yeah.
Get the lefty in to face Ohtani and Freeman, and then go to your starter after that. So I think it makes a lot of sense from like a matchup standpoint. So I'm for it. I think any way you can kind of prevent runs is a good thing, and it's proven to be an effective strategy.
Okay. And I think we'll open it up to some questions, but I got to ask this, Kenny, this is a good question. This is something I don't know if you're the perfect person to ask, Blake, but I think it's worth talking about. It's right here. Not exactly to that question. Knowing that the team is running on fumes in a couple areas, Blake, do you think some of the guys on the roster, not knowing what their place will be with the team in a few weeks, knowing that they need reinforcements, I'm talking about Ohtani, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, a lot of these, Teoscar mainstays, I'm not saying they're just giving up like a lot of people might. I know that's not what a lot of big league players do. But do you think that there needs to be just an influx of something because they've got no juice, they've got no oomph, and for the last, since Muncy's been out, ultimately they've been a 500 ball club, and somehow they maintain a stranglehold on the National League West. Do you where do you stand on will an influx of new juice? Where does that have you?
I think that's always a good thing when that happens. I mean, players are humans too. Like, they get excited when the team goes out and makes a move to help them out. They appreciate that. I think they talked about this a lot when the team went and signed Ohtani. The players group chat was going off like, wow, we got Ohtani. This is crazy kind of stuff. Just like everyone as fans were. So yeah, I do think that helps a bit. I also think just guys coming back from injury will help bring that influx back. Like when you replace Gavin Lux with Mookie Betts, that's going to be a huge upgrade for the team.
Yeah.
When you replace whoever the fifth starter is right now, like if they don't have one, you add in Tyler Glass now, that's going to be a huge boost for the team. So yes, I do think that can help a lot, but I think the bigger issues, other than mentally checking out or needing that influx, is just they got to fix the bottom of the lineup. They got to fix their role players. They got to fix their platoon options, and they got to fix their bench. Like, for me, that's what most of it comes down to.
For sure. EB, that's a great point. He was a glue. Muncy was a big thing. He was a separator from Teoscar to the rest, like from the top to Muncy to Teoscar, rest of the thing, and it just pushes it up. Mookie Betts being out pushes everybody up. And they lack those role players or those platoon guys that excel at their given role to really make up for it. And that's why all season I was like, it's an uncomfortable spot to be. So that's why we're at this point. And we've got a couple super chats here doing some catch up. Appreciate everybody. Toss those in. Give us, we're at the hour. I don't have anything to do the rest of the night. All the work's been done, so we'll stay on here. I don't know about Blake. You might want to go hit the range in the pitch black.
I have some more work to do, so let's not keep it going too long.
Send the super chats in, so Blake won't be able to get to that work. Just make sure you do that for me. If you do it, that's the best thing. That makes me that's a good thing to do. So Richard, thanks, man. Appreciate you being here always. $5 super chat. He wants players with guts. Makes me think of, Kurt Gibson times. Want mentality, blue collar mentality players. We need the right players, not the brand name players with guts. It's a hard eval for us, like, to look at players that do that. Like, there's guys in the Dodgers, like, if they don't run out every single ground ball, I don't think twice about it. That's why the ESPN broadcast was getting on Miguel Vargas about it. And I was like, it looked like a routine play. I didn't care. I don't think twice about a lot of that stuff, like the old Johnny Hustle mentality. If the situation calls for it, it matters, but I don't think every single time it matters too much. Like, looking around for those grinder type players, I would say more like players who have had those big spots. That's why looking through like David Freese, when they brought that in, clear thing, Richard. Like, that's a player. Chase Utley, guys who play hard, who've done it their entire career. I think it's a different generation of ball player right now. So those players are they're either out of baseball or it's hard to look at. Yeah, people say Tommy Pham. It's like Max Muncy, those type of guys. Players who aren't with the Dodgers at the moment. Justin Turner, people saying that. Like, it's where do you stand on how you're able to evaluate just grinder type players, Blake? Do you think that's something that you can actually target, like tone setters that way?
Yes, I think that's what they did, like with Chase Utley in the past. He's the number one guy that comes to mind with that kind of mentality. But I would also say, like, that's the kind of thing they've tried with Kike Hernandez, and that's why he's on the roster. So
I think that's just clubhouse. Like, that's just like clubhouse.
Yeah, but like, I feel like Freddie is kind of like that blue collar type player. Like, do you disagree there? He's just going in and doing his work. Like,
yep.
I think you have to find the right balance. It's hard for us to say, like, when we don't see the players as much behind the scenes. Like, yeah, sometimes I'm in there for an hour in the clubhouse with some of the players, but like, they're not doing anything that's tipping me off for their actual mentalities or how they are or anything. Like, we see what we see on the field, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. So, like, Tommy Pham is the guy that comes to mind with like the guts aspect of it, and we've thrown out that they need someone like him. Like, I think last year we talked about Bryce Harper a lot as being that type of player. So yes, I do think that would help them, like just something like some kind of player with a lot of energy. I think Teoscar kind of brings a lot of that energy. It's just like a fun and nice energy rather than like the mean, I'm going to take you out on the field type of energy. So it's a difference there. And like, I think they maybe need some of that mean streak mentality in them.
Richard, thanks for the super chat, man. I just think it's a different, if you're thinking of like players from the past, like it was usually a lot of those veteran guys, like players who had been in the league for a really long time that you would look at and be like, yeah, he's a grinder. Like, this guy shows up, lunch pail, first in, last out, all those cliches. But it's hard. Like, it's hard to, either pry those guys, or teams generally don't want to give up future assets for them. Usually when they work on the margins, it's either they're looking for someone with a specific role in the veteran swap. Usually there's not many guys out there right now because they kind of, the life expectancy for players in Major League Baseball isn't as long. I don't think as it used to be. So All right, 300. Thanks again. Another one. Alman's Blake, this is up your alley. I'll just set it up. I'll tee you up and just let you, rock that thing 180 yards like today, huh? Alman's AB last night was one of the worst ever. True that. 2 fake bunts for a strike and swung at a ball in the batter's box. Other batter's box.
Yeah.
Take it away, buddy.
I think I sent this in our group chat. I called it the worst at bat I've ever seen. And I do think that's fair. Like, you show bunt, like you don't actually go up there trying to bunt. You just show bunt. You take 2 strikes, and then you have a weak swing chasing a slider up out of the zone. Like, what are you doing there? You have to have some kind of competitive at bat in that situation. And it just was not that. I had no idea what was going through his head. Like, I know baseball's hard. I try and take it easy on players when they have a bad at bat. Like, if you miss 2 pitches and strike out because you're swinging hard and trying and working a good at bat, like, yeah, that's going to happen. Sometimes you're going to just miss 3 straight pitches and you're going to go down on strikes. That's going to happen in baseball. But when you go up there without looking like you have any idea of somewhat of a competent approach, that's just like a loss for words there from what he was doing, especially for when he's trying to say, like, hey, I'm still a player that should be on this roster. Don't send me back to AAA. You can't go up there and have that at bat. So I love James Outman as a person. Great dude. But, man, I don't know what he was doing there.
Yeah. Kira, what's up, Kira? Shout out to you being here. James Outman, from June on all the way up until July 3rd, when he got called back up, he had a 93 WRC plus. So he was only raking for like the first week in AAA. And then he just became a little better but worse version of who we've seen, but in AAA at an absolute launch pad in the PCL. So he didn't change absolutely anything like while he was down there, aside from just seeing AAA pitching. So that's why I was like, I don't know what people expect. I know everybody wants to root for it, but he didn't change much of anything. He struck out every single at bat against an elite pitching staff. So that's a tough thing to do. But we're going to open up to questions. If you have super chats, we'll halt everything. But we've got a boatload here. Oh my God. It's going to be like that one repeat where it was like a 2-hour marathon. Blake's going to text me at like 4 a.m. saying, I can't believe you did this. All right. We're going to start with Federico. What's up, man? Shout out to the 1100 in here. Appreciate you guys a ton. It's a fun one. This is a fun one. Team might stink right now, but this is a fun game. This is a fun show. For Scott and Blake, are we Dodgers fans at a point where we only think it's championship or bust because we've been spoiled with consistent regular season success? I think just the expectations. I've told Matt, I've told a lot of people, I've hopped on different shows and said that seeing the last few seasons and how they bowed out, especially this last one, it's changed like a lot of how I view the team. And it was all right in front of us, all there, black and white, crystal clear, that they just have the formula to win 100 games in the regular season or, damn near well past it. And it ultimately, it's not that it doesn't matter. It's that they just know how to do it year in and year out. So championship or bust, that should be every year for a team like this, for the prices fans pay, for as much it is to watch the games, to go to games, to buy a beer. I think it's always has to be championship or bust. So being spoiled, I mean, they set those expectations. We didn't. They've done this since the Guggenheim Group took over. They did this immediately with a splash that absorbed some of the most money I've seen move from the Boston Red Sox with Adrian Gonzalez, Carl Crawford, Beckett, and the big bat of Nick Punto all in one swoop. Yeah. So it's like they set those. You know what I mean? So I don't think we've done it. Like, they've played at a high level. The blunders have happened. Dave Roberts has been at the front of it. He's a good manager for what he's done. He's managed a superstar roster every year. A lot of teams would love to have Dave Roberts. So right now is not even the time. It's not spoiled. I don't think it's spoiled. It's that they've set these standards up for us. And it's the fact that we've seen them when they're at their best. And we know this is not where the roster has been when they're at their best. So we can see it without having to be told it's not. Like we're all just overreacting, because we're not. We know what success for this organization means.
I'm going to push back on you a little here. I think Dodger fans are spoiled. I think pretty much every team in baseball would love to be in the position the Dodgers are in every year, even with the playoff failures. Like the Angels had Ohtani and Mike Trout, the two best players in baseball, for 6 years, and they didn't make the playoffs once. You'd think they wouldn't be killing to have the success the Dodgers have had over the last, 11 years now? Like, if we watch other teams around the league and see what they're doing, they would love to be the Dodgers. They would love to have these wins in the regular season and just have hope every single year that you might win a World Series. You probably won't. Winning a World Series is tough, and most 29 teams aren't going to win the World Series every year. Sorry, everyone. Hate to break it to you. There's a good chance it's not going to be the Dodgers with those odds. There's a good chance that it's not going to be any of the teams with those odds. It's just going to be one. So baseball's hard, and I think the Dodgers have set high expectations for themselves, but I mean, those are the expectations that every single fan base in baseball would love to have. Like, maybe the Braves could say, no, we don't really want the Dodgers like success. The Astros might be able to say that, but even before the Braves won their World Series, they were considered playoff chokers every year, and they didn't have the success in the regular season that the Dodgers were having every single year. So yeah, I do think Dodger fans are somewhat spoiled, and we're allowed to be a little spoiled. The Dodgers ownership has shown that they want to spoil us. So yeah, I mean, I think we're a little spoiled with that.
That's where I hit my wagon. That's where we're on the same thing. Yeah. Like they set this up. They went in with a bang. They didn't go in just, penny pinching and not doing anything. They went in and said, we're the big bad Dodgers. We're going to spend as much as it takes. And they did it. They've done it. On-field results aside, that's where we land. But Ederico, thanks for the question. That was a good one. Oof, including the guys in the injured list, who do you think is the ace of the team? Shohei Ohtani. As far as pitching wise, like,
are we really counting him? Like,
I mean, he said on the injured list, he's on the injured list as far as a starting pitcher.
Guys who might pitch this year.
Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah, I mean it's Glasnow. I think Yamamoto has the potential and upside to be that guy, but at this moment, it's Glasnow.
Yeah, I would say Tyler Glasnow. Pretty confidently there. All right. What bats you do this every time? You love trade talk. Mike, I told you, just hit me up on Twitter. We'll chat. We'll go back and forth. You don't have to hop on here and force me into a spot where I have to scour Fangraphs and do it. So if you want to chat, you can hit the DMs and we'll talk and we'll do whatever. You're the guy. We'll talk. TQT, same thing. All right. I don't know. Mike, I wish I had somebody for you. Blake, you want to go real quick? Do you have anybody that we haven't talked about?
That we haven't talked about. We haven't got into Bo Bichette today.
Gettable. No. Give me anybody.
Justin Turner. I think that would be great for like the David Freese, kind of helping out the bench role. You don't need him to come and play third base or second base or first base every single day. Just someone who can go pinch hit for you if you need a big at bat. Someone who can kind of be a leader in the clubhouse and get rid of Kike or Biggio on the roster. I'd be happy with that. So we haven't gotten into him today. I'm sure there's some guys that we're just forgetting. It's tough. Like, we don't have all these trade options.
We haven't got there yet.
We're not Friedman with his board of potential targets. How about Jazz Chisholm? That's another guy who makes some sense. We were talking about him a bit.
Oh, yes. Don't do this.
I mean, he plays second base and outfield, left-handed bat.
We have to preface this. We have to get this off. Before we go into anything about Jazz, take away whatever happened with Miguel Rojas, please. We're going to give us a moment to everybody take a deep breath. If we'll go with it, if anything was said between Rojas and Jazz, just forget about it for a second. From a pure need and baseball perspective, yes, we know everybody's saying we shouldn't even do it. He would be perfect for the Dodgers because he can play. He's played second base. He plays center field. He's a left-handed bat. And I think that's all. But yeah, I know we agree, everybody, but just what he can do. We know. Yes, we know. We shouldn't have done it, Blake. Why'd you do that?
We'll throw out some other names the chat is throwing out. Jake Berger, I think, somewhat intriguing. Not amazing, but better than what they have on the bench. Brent Rooker and JJ Bleday. I think we've talked about Bleday quite a bit. We're both in agreement he would be a good pickup there.
Yes.
Control. I saw earlier a lot of people are throwing out Isaac Paredes from the Rays, but he has 3 years of control after this year, so I don't think that one's going to happen, even though love the player. Been high on him for quite a while. Just don't think he's a real possibility there.
Randy.
How about we talked about Randy a lot. We're trying to go with guys we haven't talked about. How about your Rays shortstop, Jose Caballero?
That would be great.
Another
That'd be great.
potential guy there.
I would love it. 2 birds with 1 stone. And if they wanna pony up, Dodgers want to pony up and get, Big Pete Fairbanks, I'd be all in. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, those are some names there. I'm still going to keep hyping up Luis Rengifo. Perfect fit for this team.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Ward, another Angels guy, might be tough there, but would be a great fit for their outfield.
You just love the Angels, what the Angels have to offer.
I mean, hey, maybe you go get a Tyler Anderson, a Luis Rengifo,
I do not want
Taylor Ward, maybe throw in Anthony Rendon. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going that far. But yeah, Lane Thomas, potentially. I think he's a very
guys, remember, I gotta bring this up once again. Post after the video, after this ends up, in the DMs, or not in the DMs, in the comments, if you predict who the Dodgers get, hit me up on Twitter. We'll chat bobbleheads. I'll send you one. I'll give you a couple, and we'll pick one out together. I've got a bunch. We'll pick one out. Not going to be from the ones Jeff gave me. I promise. It'll be the ones I already had. But give me some predictions there, and then we'll go from it.
And I think we should say, real quick, the tiebreaker will be how many you get right.
Yes.
And
sure.
Percentage-wise, you can't just throw out every name in baseball and then be right. If you get 3 out of 5 and that's the best percentage, I think that's going to be the winner. If you're the only one who gets 2 right. Yeah,
my rules, don't listen to Blake's fine print. We'll chat when we get there. Make your guesses. We'll see you there.
We're going to need tiebreakers because multiple people are probably going to get something right.
It's my thing. This is not your giveaway.
I'm just saying, as a company-wide giveaway sponsored by DodgerBlue.com here. Scott didn't get that one. I did.
I didn't get that one. But yes, please do. I'll remind you guys at the end of the show. All right, TQT. Kevin, what's up, bro? I see Stone as more of a 3 or 4 than a 2. Fippen expected closer to 4 than 3. Lack of Ks hold him back. Are you all aboard the Stone train? I mean, I don't think anybody would disagree saying that he's a 3 or a 4 than a 2. I think that's a fair thing. That's why we've talked about he's a solid middle of the rotation guy. You have to remember that he's done nothing but get better. But absolutely, someone who lacks those premier strikeout numbers, it's hard to peg him as a 1 or a 2 or an ace of a staff. But I still love what he's got. I think he's going to do nothing but get better. He's faced some tough lineups, even against the Yankees at a big spot. I know everybody, the Soto was out, but it's a big stage moment. He kept it all together there. But he hasn't really unraveled as much as times in the past, or Bobby Miller stuff where, what Gavin Stone did last year is what Bobby Miller is going through now. So I love what Gavin Stone did in terms of bouncing back and going forward, expanding his entire arsenal and then going there. But yes, I agree. I think he's more of a 3 and a 4, and I don't think anybody really debated that.
I mean, he's been pushed into the number 2 role or even the ace role right now, but the lack of Ks is definitely a concern for me. I think he needs to get those strikeout numbers up to really take the next step to be an elite starting pitcher. But I mean, I think we can call him a really good number 3 and be happy with that, considering where he was last year. And if you told me when Gavin Stone was a prospect, he would be a really good number 3, I think we'd all be happy with that. Fine with that.
Yeah. All right. I think we got one super chat in here. I'm going to pull up real quick. Noah. Thanks, man. Been a while since Blake wore a regular LA hat. Yeah. Blake's got some crazy hats. Blake's got a sweatshirt that looks like a Lego. And my girlfriend said that. No, and I'm saying, I'm speaking in terms of what you've got in your wardrobe. My girlfriend said she liked the sweatshirt, and Blake told me get owned. So Blake does not care. He has an absolute monstrous arsenal of hats, of crazy hats, stuff you've never seen. And see, there you go. That could go way up there. And that's why a lot of the takes he's got are a lot of cap, So
just how much can I just keep stacking them? I don't know. This isn't going to work out.
He's tapped in. Yeah, he's tapped.
I didn't even show. We've got the CSUN stream going today. I should have thrown up the CSUN hat today.
Yeah, shout out to the Matadors, man.
I think I have roughly 200 hats. A lot of them are packed away right now, so I'll have to get more out and keep mixing them up. I have a Star Wars Dodger hat. I should get that and wear it. I think it's got a lightsaber going across the front.
All right, we got to roll through some of these questions. All right. Christopher, for the playoffs, should we put Mookie back in right field and have Hayward man center field? Gives us 2 Gold Glove. I mean, I think that's a lot, asking Jason Hayward to play center field, especially coming off a knee deal, like a knee injury, and Mookie not playing right field. It's a thought. I don't know if that's even something they'd consider. It's not something I'd consider.
Yeah, I'm not considering that. I think they moved Mookie to the infield to take wear and tear off his body. I don't think Hayward is a Gold Glove center fielder. So I think Hayward should be the 4th outfielder. I said it a lot already. He should be there. They should get a starter in center field, move Pajes to right field, and keep Teoscar in left and just roll with that and be happy.
Yeah.
Like
right.
Kevin Kiermaier.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Let's just, yeah.
Everybody's it's going to happen, but I'm kidding about wanting that to happen.
For sure. Enough with the filler. Let's go get, just like you said, production. What would you like the bench to look like for the second half that lets you know Friedman had a good trade? I mean, anything than what they have now. If they, I think, I can't, without giving names, I think it would just, making a shift away from what they have would say a lot, because the production that they've been currently putting on, I want platoon guys that have actual splits. If you're going to platoon players, make them ensure that they have actual splits, our league average or are above league average, or even anywhere near it. Like, for the love of God, please. Like, just, if you're going to platoon and that's what you roll with, make sure what they do or they're on the team for a specific purpose, they actually do.
Yeah. I'll throw out some names on a bench. Let's say Justin Turner, Jason Hayward, Miguel Rojas, Austin Barnes is going to be there, and another outfielder, whoever, Chris Taylor. I mean, probably going to be that last guy there. So I think I'd be happy with that bench, because that means he went out and got like 2 or 3 starting bats, or 2 starting bats and a bench guy and Justin Turner. And I think that would be fine.
Rock on. Thanks for the question. Noisy Ninja. Home runs are cool and all, but why do the Dodgers rely on them so much? They seem to be allergic to just putting the ball in play. Blake?
I mean, home runs are the number 1 way to score runs. They're guaranteed. Yeah. So I think that's just kind of how baseball is trending at this point. I mean, I think the Dodgers have the talent to score without hitting home runs, and they've done it a lot, but that's just kind of how they are right now. When you have 5 guys at the bottom of the lineup who are not hitting at all, you're going to have to be a little more reliant on the top of your lineup to hit homers there. So that's just the situation they're in.
Yeah. All right, let's go down here. David, is Randy Arozarena trade doable or a pipe dream? I think it's doable. It's just a matter of the way the Rays are willing to move off of him. That's another thing, because he's a franchise mainstay. He's been there for a while. 2020 postseason run. He is one of the best postseason hitters, that we've seen in our lifetime so far. So, that's it. I think it's doable. The Rays and the Dodgers have had trades before. That would be one that they would for sure have to, I don't know, overwhelm them, but give them a competitive package, because they will be fielding a lot of calls on him. He's got years of team control. I think any trade right now is doable outside of like CJ Abrams level stuff. Like, a lot of people said Luis Robert and Garrett Crochet trades weren't doable. But I think the White Sox would even trade, get away from there. They're showing a willingness to do it. The Rays have shown a willingness, like we talked about earlier, to sell while remaining competitive, sell and buy, do all the stuff in the same time. It's just about shuffling pieces. So it's just a matter of, David, if they're willing to trade him, because one, he's not going to re-sign there, and he's under control through a cost control thing. So if the Rays just say no, it's because they don't have to pay him. He's under team control and arbitration years for the next few years. So yeah, definitely doable. Anything there, Blake?
No, I think it's doable. It's just how much the Rays are actually willing to sell and kind of retool a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know a damn thing. We're just telling you that it can all be done. It's a matter of if Friedman wants to pony up for that and the Rays want to dance. Let's see here. Ron.
Wait, real quick. There's a super chat. Let's get to that.
Yeah. Who gets called up? I think I would say, River. Is it River Ryan?
Maybe. I think that he pitched today, I believe. So
yeah, I don't know.
Or yesterday, one of the 2 days. Not sure he'll be ready by then, especially coming off the injury and how they want to protect their pitchers. I think we're going to be looking at a bullpen game that day.
Yeah.
I think it's the one right before the All-Star break, so you can kind of get away with that. Yeah. I don't think they're going to make any 40-man moves to call up a guy.
Yeah, big River Ryan day, or not River Ryan, big Yarbrough day for everybody. Make sure you're prepared for that. All right, we'll get right back up here. Would you pick up a third baseman if it were up to you? Oh, man.
Are you asking me here, or are you answering?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I would prefer a corner outfielder. I really would. If they can, sure. But I would prefer a corner outfielder.
I prefer a center fielder. I think you have Teoscar and Pajas in the corners, you're fine. But for third base, I think they just need to get a bench bat who can play third base and be capable there. Like, I don't think you need to go get a starter.
Mark Hanna, baby.
Canna?
Mark Hanna?
He can't play third.
Why not? He's done it before.
Has he? It's been a while if he has. I don't know. Maybe throw in Freddie Freeman at third and get Canna at first.
Remember that? Who was that with again? Was that with Gaddis? I forgot who they
remember.
There was some platoon they had on there where he went over and played third base. Yeah, that was the GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not going to trade for a starting third baseman. I think you have to hope Muncy comes back, but just have a capable backup in case Muncy doesn't come back or the injury flares up, and just like kind of roll with that backup. Because if you address the other positions and you start to get healthy, you can live with like an average level player at third base. So my main thing is just the bench and the backups and platoons. Like, it's just a mess right now. And I think when they figure that out, a lot of the other pieces will kind of click into place and start to make more sense.
Mm-hmm. All right. Whew. Let's see. Do we see anything? I see any others here? I mean, we've got some. I just don't know.
We have like 3 more starred.
I'm going to give a couple. We're going to go GI here. Would you be satisfied with a couple of 2 starters, Eovaldi, Flaherty, Kikuchi, and 2 bats? I'd be floored. GI. Yeah. Yes. I'd be more than satisfied with that. That would be a home run type of deadline. That would be, yes. Like?
Yeah. I mean, I would be very happy with that. Isn't Winker more of a DH? Like, I'm not sure how much he can actually play the outfield. But
platoon guy.
I mean, I guess, but you have Ohtani locked into that spot. Okay, if
he's played 65 games in left field this year.
Okay. So I'll throw Winker on there. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. That's just like a group of guys who not going to like change the outlook of the team on an impact level, but they're going to raise the floor of the team a lot. And I think that's really all you need right now, because like, I'm just going to keep harping on it. The bottom of the lineup, the bench, the platoon guys, awful. So figure that out. The rest is going to fall in and you're going to be happy.
Yeah, I agree. But as far as 2 from the Eovaldi, Flaherty, Kikuchi thing, like that gives you, I think Flaherty and Eovaldi, I'm not going to say anchor a staff, but those are 2 guys I'm very confident in right now every time they take the rubber, like without a doubt. I think Flaherty's got, postseason stuff as far as strikeouts. He's limited walks this year. Eovaldi, he shoved it down the Dodgers' throat in 2018. He did it last year, with the Rangers. Like, he's been a guy. So that would be someone that it's going to take some help. If the Rangers truly, decide to sell, he might be a guy where it's one of those teams where they, get rid of somebody and keep trying to compete. But definitely that's someone it's going to take some help as far as like the Rangers tanking a little bit in the standings for them to do that. That's as far as like league being mid. Are people going to be available? Man, Blake, you started so many. Thanks for the question, guys. These are a lot of good ones tonight. A lot of good ones.
I'm just starring everything I see, and you can pick what ones we want to do. I know we should probably wrap it up soon, but we've got a lot of good ones.
I'm not doing this one, Sasha. I'm not doing that. We'll just funsies this one. Would I want Cody B back? for Beltober, I mean, it's essentially a 3-year contract or a 2.5-year contract you're bringing on because he's not opting out. You know, see, it's asking, would you want Cody Bellinger for 2.5 more years after this?
I mean, they don't really have any outfielders locked up long term besides Outman and Pajes, so gonna need someone out there. Center fielders are pretty
Wouldn't
tough to
it.
come by.
Wouldn't
So,
hate it.
I'd be happy. They
Wouldn't
could do
hate
that.
it. Yeah, I would. Why not? I would like it. And it fits a need. It's how it goes. All right. Unless I get an overwhelming question, I think we've got to call it. A lot of rentals here. There's a ton. Just pull up Spot Track and just pull it up. There's a ton. A lot of rental people here.
Let's get to rods. I think that's a good one.
Let me see. All right. If the Dodgers end up fixing one need, which
It's a tough one.
It's a really tough one. I don't think they have the options. Now, could go a couple tiers here. Like fixing the offense, taking is that just if they just completely stay away from pitching, do they completely stay away from it, or is it completely staying away from like bats? Is it that one or the other? Because that's a tough one.
Let's say, just for some clarity in the question, let's say they get to trade for one player, and it has to be realistic. Like, you're not going and saying Aaron Judge or anything. Like, who's that one player you're going to get that you think would help them the most?
One singular player. Oh my God. It's got to be a pitcher, right?
I mean, then you're stuck with Gavin Lux, or
it has to be a pitcher.
I mean, there's a possibility you have Kershaw, May. Yamamoto.
I'm saying GI just said, if you get Mookie and Muncy back, it has to be a pitcher.
What if you get all your pitchers back? Then I think you make the case for a bat.
Yamamoto, how confident are you in Yamamoto coming back?
I'm not, but we're only getting one player to pick from, so I'm more confident in Yamamoto coming back than Lux being relevant.
That's a great question. Rod, why'd you do this? I'm just going to say pitcher. I'm going to say pitcher. Because of what Muncy and Mookie can bring. If Muncy makes his way back, I don't think he is. I think he has a torn oblique. I think that's a thing that just they're kind of dancing around till after the deadline, so teams don't leverage it. But I'm going to say a pitcher. I think so. With how touchy they are with arms, I'm going to say starting rotation. That's something they need to fix, and they'll figure out the rest.
So for me, I'm kind of debating between 3 players here. Crochet is like the obvious top guy, kind of makes the most impact. So tempted to take him. Also tempted to go with Cody Bellinger because left-handed bat that you need, plays good defense. You need defensive help. They need a center fielder. I think that would kind of fix a lot of their lineup issues there. And also Luis Rengifo is my other guy again I'm going with. Not the same impact that Crochet is going to make. He's having a really good year. He can play third. He can play second. He can play the corner outfield spots. I believe he's a switch hitter. So throw that into your lineup there. You're potentially fixing one of your spots at throw out whatever position, whatever doesn't work out. If Muncy comes back, then Rengifo's in the corner outfield or second base. If Muncy doesn't come back, then Rengifo is your third baseman. I think there's a lot of value in that versatility there, kind of like Ben Zobrist with the teams Friedman used to have there. That's intriguing to me. So it's tough. I think at this moment, I'm going to go with Bellinger. But it's tough. You have to see the health of the starting pitchers and what their progress is and all that. There's so many factors to consider when you're talking about one player. I think a center fielder in a left-handed bat would go a long way.
It's a good point. They need a lefty. They need a left-handed bat. They need someone that can punish right-handed pitching. They need a center fielder, to really shore that up. It clears 2 platoons. It makes James Outman expendable because we know who he is. It puts Andy Pajes in an auxiliary role where it feels like to be, consistently productive, they need to maximize his splits versus left-handed pitching. and then go from there, which is why it's so spotty. So yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. I'll stick with the starting pitcher. It's got to be Crochet, right? Like if I'm going to say one, then you got to reach for the stars on there, because if they came away with just the Eovaldi, I think that'd be a big womp, 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 but he'd be terrific. But it's got to be someone impactful. If it's just one player, it needs to be an impact player. And Joe Davis said on Dodgers territory the other day, if they go get a bat, he feels they need to get a middle of the order guy. And I think that says a lot about the faith and the confidence of Max Muncy making his way back to the lineup. Just because of a few setbacks here, Max Muncy with an oblique, we just don't know. So all useful things. Again, make your predictions. Once the video is over with, wait a couple of minutes for the comment thing to open up, but toss your predictions to me in there. I'll keep bringing it up. And then we'll talk bobbleheads to see who did it. If you give me 3 guesses, we'll go with that. Oh my gosh.
How about Eovaldi, Kenley, Bellinger, Justin Turner deadline? We happy? Bringing back all the former Dodgers.
It does everything that we said. It does. I mean, it raises the floor of a few spots, and that's all we really need. That's really all it is. For them to have a successful deadline, everybody, like, again, we'll keep bringing this up so it gets in the ear of people. Kenny, I don't have one. I'm thankful. For it to be a successful deadline, it just needs to raise the bar for what they currently have, because the options that they currently have are not getting it done because they have been well below league average. We're talking, 40% below league average, which is unbelievable. It's just inexcusable stuff. Remember, 4 of the top 40 or the bottom 40 worst hitters in Major League Baseball. Dodgers start 4 of them every other day, which is inexcusable stuff. And that's from a team that was so proficient at having platoon guys, some of the best in Major League Baseball against right-handed pitchers, left-handed pitchers. They do not have that at all. So it's just about raising that bar, and then the offense will rise up all around. All right, but again, we're going to cut it here. Appreciate everybody. We have almost 1,200 tuning in tonight, so we appreciate again. My name is Scott Geirman, senior staff writer, Dodger Blue. My buddy, good friend, Blake Williams, man of 1,000 hats. We appreciate it. He's going to go hit the range in the pitch black night vision goggles. We'll keep tabs on you guys. We've got a lot more coming up towards the trade deadline. We appreciate you. Hit the like, subscribe, leave your comments about your guesses about trades. We'll keep tuning in. We'll keep tabs. Hit us up on Twitter. Give us a follow. Thanks, guys. You take care.